your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell out before you blow up a plane.
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, good to say I dabbled in stand-up for something. I haven't been disrespectful to you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt.
I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean.
Hello, welcome. It's another episode of your favorite podcast, the Chrissie Mayr podcast. You can listen to us on, we're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch for some reason, Twitter, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, Rockfin. We're all over the place. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to this on YouTube. Trying to make it to 100K sometime before I'm dead. At first I was saying before the end of the year, but now I'm a little more realistic. Before I bring in my fabulous guest, who I saw this weekend in Arizona, I got a couple of stand-up shows to promote. Guys, next Wednesday, if you're in the New York City area at all, come on out to Stand Up New York. This is not in my calendar, but we'll be at Stand Up New York next Wednesday, December 27th for Gino Visconti's birthday show, myself, and my hilarious, if you've seen me on the road at all, Keanu Thompson, one of my openers, she'll be there as well. Then the first weekend of January, I'll be in San Diego headlining the Mic Drop Comedy Club. I was there last year. It was a blast. I know you're probably like, ugh, California. But this club is great. So we got one show Friday, two shows Saturday. I will be joined by the hilarious Lila Hart. Then I'll be heading to Dallas at the end of January, Thursday, January 25th. I'll be back at Hyenas in Dallas. Yes, this was the location of the fateful trans heckler moment where I yelled at the land whales and then they pushed over my merch table and then it got picked up by the Post and the Daily Mail. It was fun. Hopefully that'll happen again. Who knows? If it doesn't, that'll probably be good too. So come on out, guys. Go to ChrissieMayr.com for tickets. Plus, I don't know if the tickets are available yet, but February 24th, I'll be in Jersey headlining Tiff's Ale House in Morris Plains, New Jersey. And then I'll be sticking to local stuff before I push a human being out of my body. I'm not scared at all. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay. Our guest today is someone that has been on the show before. He's an absolute delight. We were hanging out this weekend a bit at AmFest down in Phoenix. He has a kind of a relatively new podcast. I think it's a relatively new podcast that I was just on just a couple weeks ago. And you might know him from TimCast. Welcome to the show, Ian Crossland.
Hi, Chrissie. Thanks for having me.
When did you start your podcast?
It was like 2 months ago or something.
Okay.
2 to 3, something like that. Yeah, it's episode 26 now, and I've been doing like 4 to 5 a week usually.
Ooh, how do you like that? How do you like having your own show compared to just being an ensemble player?
I love it. I really like interviewing people. I like my mind kind of trains on like concepts and I want to know more. Like someone will say one thing and I'll think like 5 questions about that one thing. And then I'll get a chance to ask them and listen to them. And then having really prolific guests on is really awesome because they'll just talk and I don't need to ask questions frequently. And I can just sit back and yeah.
Those are the best interviews when they just go and go and go. It's the hardest when you're like, when you get like short or one word answers, but I'm not having too many of those people on. I think
I haven't been talking with a lot of people like that lately that are like, I don't know.
Why are we here?
Favorite thing? Oh. Yeah. Do you hang out with people like that these days?
If I do, I'm like, this person we're probably not going to be friends. We're probably not going to create much together. It's like you can do banter even if you're not really like loving the person you're with. Like my patience was definitely tested over the last few days at AmFest, which you and the TimCast crew were at as well. Also some folks from Tenant Media. I think there's a bit of a crossover there because that's like I think Lauren Chen's husband Liam's his sort of media company. So a lot of like overlapping folks from the internet. And I found people were, I had a media booth there, people were coming up to me, and I just found like my patience is so much lower than what it used to be, and I would like to just blame it on pregnancy formally because I was like,
the baby has like no tolerance for shit.
No, the baby is taking up not really 95% of my brain power, and food supply and water and breathing. Like I'm breathing heavier now. I was told by my friend Keanu that I breathe like a rhino and it can be heard from outside the bathroom when we were on the road together. So I feel bad. So if I was cunty to anybody this weekend in Phoenix, I apologize. It just yeah.
It's not you're not alone. My patience was tested as well. I think I passed the test. But like what I've learned is listening to people for real. I can see why a lot of famous people, when they're like doing a show and then they meet people, will be like, "Hi, good to meet you," and then they get a picture. And they're like, "Okay, see you later," and then they move on to the next person. "Hi, nice to meet you." They get a picture. Goodbye. Because what I tend to do is I ask them, "What is your name?" and I look them in the eyes, and then they tell me. And I'll listen to them and I'll really take in their energy. And it requires a lot of glucose to listen. And like I was fatigued. Yeah, literally willpower is derived from glucose. There's a book called Willpower that's really great about all these experiments. Like they'll test people before they, like if they haven't eaten, and they'll give them like complex puzzles and they're like, people are failing and like losing. And then they give them a little bit of candy before the test and they'll be like way, way better. And listening is just an active process that requires, and I would go home after that event, after like 4 hours of meeting people, like crushed and fatigued and like crying and like just like out of my mind. But all in all, it's invigorating. It's just, it also is wearing.
It really is. And I was walking just for a little while, maybe like 15 minutes or so with Jake the Shaman, aka the poster boy of January 6th. And I thought I got approached a lot. Holy cow, this guy could not walk 10 feet without somebody stopping him, tapping him on the shoulder, wanting a picture. And I'm just like, and of course he's in there in his full costume. He said it's not a costume. He said it's regalia. It's part of his shamanic lifestyle, but it's easier for me to just call it a costume. And I'm like, do you sleep in that face paint? Like, how many copies of those pants do you have? How many copies of those horn hats do you have? I'm asking all the important questions, of course, but like he's constantly. And then I really wanted to meet Roseanne, but I was kind of watching her do an interview with someone from the Epic Times. They have these big media booths similar to as you saw with Patrick Bet-David. It's like it's more than just a booth. They have an entire professional podcast set up on the floor there on Media Row, and so she's in one of these professional setups being interviewed, and I'm kind of like right behind her, like, oh my god, because I'm just such a fan. And then as soon as she's done, I'm like, I'm waiting, I'm thinking like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? And how am I going to say it? And I just kind of realized like the person I would have to sort of become in that moment to meet her and break through everybody else is not something I wanted to do. And I guess it makes me feel a little bit try hard or inauthentic. And then there was a guy next to me like, Roseanne, I worked with you 30 years ago. You remember me? Like, who knows if he held a fucking microphone on her TV set 30 years ago. That guy, I'm competing with that guy. I'm competing with like all these like alpha dudes to get a picture. It's like, as much as I would love a picture, it's not worth the scrappiness I'd have to come up with I don't know. I was like, I'm sure I'll meet her. If I'm meant to meet her, I'll meet her. And I'd rather like organically work with her on something. Like I would love a picture, but I just was like, bowed out. And as exhausted as I was meeting people, I can't imagine. I mean, Roseanne was one of the top names there this weekend. She must be constantly, it is exhausting to have to talk to people and meet people. I mean, it's why you're there. You want to connect with the people who support you. But someone like her, it's like she needs handlers. She needs people to like assess, okay, we're talking to these people, we're gonna move her. Even she can't even walk through a crowd by herself. So
But yeah, she's awesome. I love her.
yeah.
I didn't see her. I knew she was there. Jimmy Corsetti, who's you should interview sometime. He does Bright Insight, talks all about his YouTube channel is Bright Insight and
Ooh,
ancient
okay.
civilizations, Atlantis, goes deep on the pyramids, all sorts of ancient culture, technology, and things. He and I were hanging out a lot at the event, and he did an interview with her. And I felt the same thing. I was like, I was like, ask someone, is she around? And I feel like I'm not if I see her, I see her. I know her pretty well. Like we get along great, but I didn't like force it. I could have texted Jake, her son, who's also amazing.
Yeah.
If you don't know Jake,
Yeah.
and like
I was
sought them out.
Yeah.
But it was just like everybody was, everybody's kind of doing their own thing, kind of. And if I saw him, I saw him. Posobiec, I ran into. Ashley St. Clair, I ran into. But I wasn't really hunting anybody down.
Yeah, you seem like the kind of guy, Ian, where people come to you, not the other way around.
Pretty much, I think because my hair, I look kind of iconic because of my hair. Like, I just don't look like a lot of other people at that event. So people would like see me from a distance, and they'd be like, and then I'd notice like if people were walking by me, I'd see them like side eye, and if I didn't look at them, they'd just keep walking, or they'd be like, oh, that was Ian. But if I turn and look at them and make eye contact, they walk straight towards me, and I'm like, yeah, and then we start talking.
That's cool. Yeah, one person was like, really wanted to interview me, and I had to pee so bad. And not just regular pee. I'm peeing for 2. And I was like, I was really short. I was like, if you want to do it in the bathroom with me, sure, let's go. Like I just couldn't. Again, like
It's
part of the people I was cunty to this week.
you got to prioritize peeing and pooping. This is something I'm huge on. I'm bullish for yourself because like your body doesn't know why it's not shitting if it's not like your mind can be like override what the body needs and be like, no, body, you're gonna sit still, take it. But the body's like doesn't have like understanding capability. It just is. And if it isn't getting what it needs, it defaults, it like malfunctions. So I'm a huge advocate of peeing and pooping. If you got to get up and walk out, there are times when you're like in a really important conversation and you can hold it, but like, especially if you're peeing for 2, like don't make that baby's body suffer along with it. Just some dumb interview. Not that the interview was going to be dumb, but like you got to prioritize health.
And you know that the baby it's currently sitting in its own pee. It just pees and that becomes the amniotic fluid. So he's just chilling, swimming in his own pee for months. No wonder
Is it
they come out
disinfected?
crying.
Oh, wow.
That's a good question.
I wonder if does it have a lot of urea in the baby pee or is it more just pure?
I wonder that. It probably not because I'm probably taking the bulk of that and passing it. And he's just getting probably like little just nutrient water. And then just, yeah, how much damage could he be doing in there?
It would be great if your pee was good for you. I used to think like if we could somehow make our pelvis constantly peeing and pooping, you don't have to ever like hold it in and you're constantly, it's turning it into like nutrition or energy.
Like what you're talking about is hospice. I think they
maybe you might be right. But also the book Dune, in the book Dune, they walk around in these like recycling suits because they're on a desert planet and like every bit of moisture their body uses is.
I saw the Dune movie. Yeah, they absorb their own water, which is cool.
Yeah, so if you could like shit in your pants, but it turns it into energy, so then your pants actually give you electricity, and you can like charge your phone in your pocket because of the energy it gets out of the waste, and then it just dissipates the waste or sublimates the waste into gas. That'd be cool.
Right, and then you could blame your shitty Wi-Fi on something other than just the cell service. Be like, no, this is my own shit.
Yeah, I pooped too much. It interfered. I apologize.
Actually, also, if you're a race car driver, apparently, I learned this from Camelot. You pee while you drive. There are just holes in the seat, and you pee out like a Flintstone car. You just pee out the car.
Do they have holes in their pants?
I know there's holes in the seat.
Whoa.
Yeah, I guess I would hope there's also holes in your pants because you're still peeing your pants.
Do they crap too?
Gosh, I would hope not. I would hope like the adrenaline from being a race car driver, your body would be like, okay, we're going 100 miles an hour. This is not really the time for a number 2.
Yeah, you can reuse that stuff. Like I noticed when I was in South America working out in in Belén in Peru. It was in Iquitos, in this like the last city before you get into the jungle. You got to take a plane to get in there. And we were working on the River Itaya and pulling the plastic out of the water and like doing all this recycling stuff. And I was in hot sun working 10-hour days, 8-hour days in the hot sun. And like, I was not shitting. My body did not need, because it was reusing. And that was really cool. That was really noticeable. And obviously urine, you know, if you're going to reuse the liquid.
That happens to me on long car rides sometimes. I'll have to pee and then I'll just will it away. I'll just wait for my body to like reabsorb it.
Yeah.
Maybe
It gets the
that's not
moisture.
healthy.
It like it'll reuse the moisture, but then it like probably leaves urea deposits and like salt deposits and shit you don't need.
Or you could probably get a UTI. Well, that's if you don't pee like right after sex, you get a UTI.
Yeah,
So they say.
That's like peeing after sex is it's like what do you call it? Like a learned, it's like an acquired taste. Like it kind of burns a little, but it's like a cleansing burn.
You got to do it. Yeah. It's like grappa in between courses.
What's grappa?
Grappa, it's like a little bit of if you ever go to a super, and I only know this because I used to work for a hedge fund and we had like a very fancy pre-economic collapse trip to the Virgin Gorda Islands on a yacht where we ate fucking snails and shit. Like nothing that I actually really love, but I'm like, this food costs up like $100 an ounce. I'm just going to eat whatever they put in front of me. And I think grappa is like this in between palate cleansing type of liqueur, maybe like a limoncello or something else. And I don't know why. I just have to brag about my fancy job that I had.
Do you swallow it or did you just swish it and spit it out?
You do swallow it, I think.
Do you ever do that wine tasting?
I've done wine tasting.
Because they're always like, don't swallow it. Is like, and most people I know like, what? Of course, what the fuck are you? Of course I'm gonna swallow it.
I've always felt like as a woman, you want to just, when in doubt, it's always best to swallow. You know, you want to be a team player.
One step ahead.
Yeah. I guess if you're really like chugging a lot of wine, but you gotta swish it around. You gotta do the mouth feel. I definitely miss drinking a little bit. But
were you drinking?
No, well, you can't drink when you're pregnant, but I would sometimes smell people's drinks. Like my buddy Ryan Kinnell came to the conference.
Oh yeah, Ryan's awesome.
And we shared a booth together, and he would be drinking something. I'd be like, "Can I just smell that?"
That might be good for you. A little bit of the fumes.
Yeah.
Is it? Were you drinking right up until pregnancy, or did you stop before?
Oh, I was drinking while pregnant. I didn't know. I didn't know for like I think I was 7 weeks along when I realized I was pregnant, because it was a busy summer. I was at Anime Matsuri, so I was traveling. I thought, oh, okay, maybe I'm stressed. I'm a little late, but whatever. And then I took a test 2 weeks late. It was positive. I thought it was a fake positive because the line was so faint, like the plus sign. I was like, I'm sure this is wrong. I just threw it out. Didn't really make a big deal of it. Another week goes by. Our very close friend died. We went to their wake. And then I was like, okay, now I'm 3 weeks late. And I was like, Frank, I'm just going to go buy 4 pregnancy tests. Just take me to the store, please. I did them all. They were all pregnant, all different ways. Oh, this is positive in all different ways. One was a plus, one was the word, one was something else. And I was like, well, I think there might be something to this. I think
that's inductive reasoning. Was it like 4 different brands of
yes
pregnancy tests? Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah, generic, expensive, all the types. I think it might be funny to just take one like right before
you what?
Super.
Oh, there was some lag. Am I lagging for you? You were lagging for me. Hello. Am I lagging? Can you hear me?
I think am I lagging?
Yeah, you are.
How embarrassing.
It looks like pixelated to me, but I don't know if it's coming through clear to the audience. Is it live?
We're live. I'm plugged into the wall as far as internet goes. So, gosh, how embarrassing!
I want to ask the audience.
It's like losing your erection.
Losing your soul. I thought that's what you were going to say. Yeah. It is. It's like blue balls, but in reverse.
Ugh,
I'll ask the audience, could you hear me? Oh, I guess I was good and you lagged. Okay, well, if you lag again,
okay.
I'll just pick up the show and say some cool shit.
Just take it away. Okay,
Yeah.
so Ian, how often were you getting approached, and I guess how do you deal with right, there's always gonna be some combination of friends that you're excited to see again, people you wanna meet and connect with, and then just fans, and maybe some of them are sort of like, it's so I find it so tricky to, like, set any kind of boundary because again, you gotta say goodbye to people and move on, right? Especially if you're trying to eat or go to the bathroom or talk to someone else, you've got an appointment, so that was a big learning experience for me was navigating that process, but you've been to one of these already before.
Yeah, this one was a lot more interactive with the crowd. Last time we went, I just remember we got in and like did one day, I think, and then got out. This time I went Saturday, we left Monday. So we did Saturday all day. I was at the event for like 4 hours. Sunday, I dipped out. I did not go to the building Sunday. I just took a rest day. And then Monday I went to the building at but it was later in the day. I was still pretty wiped out. And but while I was there, it was pretty, I mean, I don't know what to say nonstop, but it was like every 5 minutes someone would come up to me or three people would come up to me at once. There'd be like a small crowd forming. But what I noticed is if you're really honest with people and you listen to them and you're genuine, then if you're like, I gotta go piss, they'll be like, okay. And they're really happy. And they're like, see you later. Thanks. And nobody takes anything personal. You're like, I gotta go look for some people. I gotta do a round. They're like, okay, bye.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with having to go to the bathroom, or I'll be like, "I'm
Yeah.
really hungry," or people have appointments, like, I got a
Or I'll be like,
thing.
I want to go find Jimmy. And they'll be like, okay. And then I just leave and walk away. But it's true. I only say what was true. Like I wasn't lying to get away or anything. Or I was never like, I'm tired and I can't take this conversation anymore. I never said that kind of thing because I was like, this is my duty to the human race. If I'm going to live this kind of luxurious lifestyle of talking on camera for a living where there's people out there breaking rocks, like I need to give back. And like, I
Right.
think these events are a way to do that.
Definitely. What, I guess let's see. So then you guys had the IRL show, which is really cool because mostly they have speakers. It's one person on stage. I think Candace Owens was supposed to come, but she had to go give birth. But it was like the big guests. It was Tucker. It was like Mike Lindell, Patrick Bet David, obviously Roseanne, James O'Keefe, and then you guys got to do an IRL show with Tucker Carlson. How was that? Had you guys met him before?
No, I never met T-Bone before that, man. I like him
T-Bone.
so much. Yeah, Tucker's cool. We were talking before the show. He's so chill. Like his online persona is he's deep in politics because he did a politics show for 30 years. So like when he talks about it, you can see the stress in his face. Like up here on this part of his forehead, sometimes it'll crunch while he's really thinking about something or really listening about it. But like he himself is super chill, which is probably why he's been able to be in that career for 30 years and not go psychotic. And like he's like a dude that lives in Maine. He likes to fish, he likes to hunt, or just like hang out with his family and be real relaxed. And it was really nice
Wow.
to talk to him.
He just seems like the human equivalent of plaid pajama pants. Like, yeah, very relaxed,
Hey, that's
woodsy,
me right now.
rustic.
Now you're talking
Oh
about it.
yeah, look at that.
Plaid pajama pants.
I literally
Yeah,
just took
basically.
mine off like an hour before this
That's
show.
funny. Yeah, I used to wear these on IRL. We were talking before. I would like take a shower like 20 minutes before the show, and then I go up there in pajamas. And Tim's like, "Can you like take a shower a little earlier and make sure your hair is dry, and maybe put on some jeans or something?"
How many shows have you done with wet hair?
Probably like 80 or 100. It was like the first year and a half or something. I was like wearing pajamas with wet hair. I'd go up there and I was like, "Fuck it." But then
I think
his
I
mom,
was.
his mom was like, he kind of looks like a scuzz. I don't know what she was like.
Oh
Tim, like,
no!
and you guys, well, she didn't say it about. She'd say it to me too. Like she's a phenomenal human being, Joy. She's just real honest. She's like, I don't know what words she used, but I think she was like, maybe Ian could clean it up a little bit. And it's like I need that feminine energy around me to be like, yo, shave, put on some nice clothes, present yourself, because otherwise I'm
Yeah.
just like rolling in.
Does she visit often, or do you guys just talk
She
on the phone?
not often. Joanne, Tim's
Yeah.
mom.
Mhm.
No, not often. She comes over sometimes. She lives local, but I
Oh,
haven't seen her
cool.
lately very much. She's super cool. She reminds me of
He
my
should
aunt.
he should have her on the show. I'd like
Yeah,
to
she'd be great.
hear from his mom.
She's real smart. She's real perceptive too. I like her a lot.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, cool. Because I remember I was there March of 2021. I think I remember it, like my first impression was like, yeah, pajama pants. And I think you had bare feet. I was like, cool. I
Oh,
like
I
this.
do. Yes, I do the bare feet thing. That is
They're
not a
just
problem.
like sometimes there's a couple major league pitchers who will like they'll do grounding. They'll just walk around in bare feet like on the field. And I was like, maybe that's what Ian's doing. He's just grounding himself.
Dude, I got a moss mat in my bathroom in my shower. It's like literal a mat made of real moss. And like talk about grounding. Right when I'm done in the shower, I just step on the moss and just let it
Ooh.
go into me. It feels so good. Cool, wet, sticky, moist, like all these things you don't want to say out loud, but you need. And like it not only is your dirt from your feet going into it, it's the stuff from the moss is going into you. And it's like this transfer
Wow.
of energy between you and the plant. And then I'll
Maybe
like
I should just step into
rinse it off.
my tortoise enclosure every once in a while. Maybe I'll get the same feeling because there's moss and dirt in
Interesting.
there.
Yeah,
I've heard that
if you got space for a moss mat, I highly recommend it.
a moss mat. Okay. Where does even one get one?
Etsy, that's where I got mine.
Okay.
I think they
I
shipped
like
it from
that.
overseas or something, like Poland.
I just bought for my stepson, we got a pandemic turtle. So he's still alive, of course. He's gonna outlive all of us. I think this turtle's gonna be 100 years old, which we didn't really think of when we bought him. And he was shipped here in a little box with air holes in it, and now he's like full on like hamburger size. And I just bought for him, I'm gonna give it to him for Christmas, like a little skateboard that the tortoise can ride on. And I'm like, I hope this is a good idea. Like, I don't want to just like send him like soaring down the road on a skateboard, but I think it might be more of like a medical device that I think the tortoise can just walk a little bit faster with the help of wheels. So
Yeah, I've
we'll
seen
see.
videos of it.
I'll have to take videos.
Oh, awesome. I've seen the tortoises online, like with their little skateboard, and they seem to thoroughly be enjoying it. I mean, this is just
Yeah.
my putting my anthropomorphization
How many
perception on it.
animals? Right. We enjoy moving faster than we're meant to. I've seen videos
Yeah.
of dogs that enjoy going down on slides, or I've seen
Yeah.
birds on skateboards.
Like
So,
crows like sliding down a snowy roof and polar bears rolling down the hill and stuff.
yeah, and dogs like right, they're having fun. They're running up and sliding down like a snowy little mountain or something.
Yeah, it's like that feeling of momentum where you're like dropping on a roller coaster. That's probably a through line through the animal kingdom.
That's one of my favorite things is like watching animals have fun. It's like the best. It's the best timeline cleanser, just like life cleanser. So, we'll see how that goes.
Do you
And
see
they
the
also sell
crows?
oh,
What
yeah,
was
the
that?
crows are they're so smart.
They'll like
They're
mess with
insanely smart.
animals. They'll come up
I was
behind an animal and like poke at it and then jump
yeah,
away so the animal thinks the other animal did it.
I was in Tampa, and we were going out for, like, a brunch or something before the show. There were these crows, and they're smaller than the crows that we have here in New York. They're, like, bluish, blackish tinted, but I knew it was a crow because 'cause I'm like, "These guys are so fucking smart." There was a table behind us that, like, had soup, but not everything was cleared away yet, and there was just a little almost like a sweet and low container, but full of crackers, and the crows were, like, dive bombing in onto the table, hopping up. They would like just beak a container, just beak a little thing, a packet of saltines, and fly away. And I watched two of them do this, and I was cracking up. I'm like, this is the most adorable thing I've ever seen. Like they're so smart. And then one of them took the container of crackers and like went right below us. And I'm like, how you gonna get it open? You don't have thumbs. What you gonna do, Crow? And he's just like pecking at it. He's just like, and of course everything's the cracker integrity is ruined in the because he's just pecking at it now. It's just crumbs. But he was able to open the thing up and eat it. I was like, that's so smart. Good for him. He deserves it.
Yeah, I would love to interface with crows. Like, I bet the humans eventually will start getting more interrelational with crows and dolphins because those things are so smart. And like
Yeah.
the crows can help us navigate. They might be able to find stuff for us if we lose money or we need to get items or And of course,
Yeah.
the Dolphins
Do you
can.
know crows can hold grudges? Like they
No.
remember if
Oh, really?
someone's wronged them or something, or maybe shooed them away. Yeah,
Interesting.
there's a gang of crows that live in Westchester. Sometimes they're in White Plains, but yeah, it's like a true gang. I'll often see them like hanging out on the dumpsters at McDonald's, but like they have just a daunting like Stephen King like presence in the air. Like just they look like they're watching you. They look like they're planning something. I'm just like, I just don't want to piss off the gang of crows. Or
The-
it's a murder. It's a murder of crows. Thank you,
oh, it
Douglas.
is? It's called a murder?
Yeah.
What? Who came up with that?
I don't
What?
know. Maybe because they're black and they're responsible for most of the crime of all the
Oh,
birds.
oh my
I don't know.
gosh.
I
They
don't know.
I'm a I I think Gang of Crows could be a band name. I might just be biased because of Counting Crows. So it sounds a little from a
I
Gang of
liked
Crows.
I liked Counting Crows.
Dude, they're so good. That August and Everything After was such a good
Yes!
album.
I liked them. That was my jam. Just Counting Crows, Goo Goo Dolls, Foo Fighters, little Bare Naked Ladies, a little bit of OAR, a little bit of
Yeah.
Guster. Just that
Yeah.
early aughts feel good music scene.
Oh yeah. That sounds like it's going all the way back to like 93, 94. Were
Oh,
you like into
yeah.
Counting Crows in the early kind of mid-early 90s when that stuff
August and
first
Everything
dropped?
After, I think was my first album.
I think it was
So I don't know if I
93.
was
Could have been 92, 93. Were
one
you
of
into
my
the
first.
grunge scene?
I don't think so. I was into more because by the time I was graduating high school, it was like Eve 6, Blink-182, Green Day. I was sort
What
of
year?
like
What year did you graduate? I think you're slightly younger than me.
2005.
Yeah. Okay. I was 97. So they're eight years.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were probably deep into music in like 97, 98 is when you started, like,
I
it started
think
popping in your
so.
mind.
Like, what was the first album was Ace of Base and then Billy Joel. And then like, yeah, my sister was older. She got into Dave Matthews Band and I was like, okay. I'm sorry, my brother was who was older. He was really into REM.
Great
And
band.
that sort of continued through college, right? Getting into like OAR, Guster. I lost my virginity to a roadie from Rusted Root, so I feel like I was keeping in the theme pretty
Dude, Rusted
well.
Root was hot. That band was.
They
I-
were.
yeah. So you saw him live and then you met the dude?
Yes, I worked on the event staff at college and they came to my college and I was like, for some reason, very passionate about setting up chairs. And I think I just really wanted to accumulate as many free t-shirts as possible. And yeah, there was this roadie and I guess I guess I really liked the way he was setting up the speakers. And I don't know how we came to I think because probably I was breaking it down. We were all breaking down the concert afterwards. He was just like hanging out. His name was Steve-O. Even though there was already a Steve-O. There was already the Steve-O that everybody already knows from Jackass, but he liked to call himself that too. And we dated for like a couple months.
I only know of Rusted Root that one song of theirs. Like, I'm gonna say, but beyond. I don't know what that. I would like to take up my hand. You know that one.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Send me on my way.
Yeah, Send Me on My Way. That's what that's called. That was a good one. That was real good.
Yes, I did. I did send him on his way when we were done.
Yes, he's still going. He's still headed there.
That was just such an exciting time. It was like Napster and Morpheus, and you'd like first computer, and you're just like hovering over it, like just waiting 2 hours for one song to download, and like the OG Facebook times. That was exciting.
Yeah, it was like that was when the old method of marketing of the music industry and the movie industry was like it was just changing, and like it was like 2 to 7% of the industry had like cracked open and you could see this new methodology, and the other 93% was like still trying to be this old weird sell you CDs kind of thing. And there was just I would take a 56K modem or like a 24 whatever they were modem, 28.8 I think, and it would take me like 13 hours to download a song. I would queue it up
Wow,
at
right.
night, and then the next day I'd have it download. But it was
You would pick like which
groundbreaking.
song to download, and you're like, this one's gonna take 13 hours. This one's gonna take 5 hours. And then sometimes you would spend all that time downloading, and it would be just really shitty quality. You have to delete it and then start all
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Oh
And
my
it was like,
God.
the change was it was free. And so you didn't have to go buy the CD because CDs were also extremely groundbreaking at the time. I mean, you could because you could rewind them instantly. Like tapes, you had to wait. You have to rewind and wait for it to be done. And then you're like, oh my God, it's taking forever. And like before the CDs, before Napster and stuff, it was the radio. You had to like pray that your song would come on the radio, and I'd be like switching channels, waiting for it, and then hit record right when it came on, so to catch the song and have it permanently on a tape. And those were like my, when I was 12, 13, well, more like 11 and 10. Then CDs came out.
Wow.
I still taped songs when CDs were out.
I still have like my big sleeve of CDs somewhere. I think I just couldn't bring myself to throw it away.
Probably a good move.
Yeah, I'll have to buy an old CD player or something.
Yeah, I'd like to have it.
Fun.
Like owning it, having the data local is key. Like I've seen people like, oh, I bought an album on iTunes and now it'll be like, we are no longer hosting this information on iTunes. You no longer have it. And you're like, well, I guess I never did.
Yeah, I want to start
weird.
doing
I don't
like buying more DVDs and I don't know, Blu-rays, I guess, like just of old movies that I really like, just to have them, like build up my physical media collection.
Yeah, you can get them.
Just don't know.
You can put it on like, that's probably not a bad idea. You can put it on like data discs, like thumb drives and stuff, which they're still solid state. They're still good. They're lightweight. That was my problem with CDs is I would like, every time I would move, I'd have these big things. I've done like a big Tupperware thing of all my CDs and like 120 CDs, and it was weighed 90 pounds. I just got tired, eventually.
It's so crazy to think about the beginning of social media, like especially us, early adapters of Facebook and Twitter. And if you had told me back then, like this will eventually be used to silence your speech and affect what jobs you can and can't be hired for. And eventually it's going to be a thing that divides you between like your family and friends. God, I just would have been so shocked. It just seemed like a cool way to meet friends who also went to your college.
Yeah, when I graduated high school in 97, it was like email existed. And I was like, holy God, this technology is so we all went off to our colleges, a bunch of my friends from high school and all these people that in the past you'd never see again. That would be it. You'd never see those people again. Or maybe you would, or maybe you wouldn't. So I set up an email chain where I would mass email a bunch of my friends from high school, and I would write these stories like John Brookshire walks in and Mundorf pops out of the cake. But Katie Pacenta comes in the room from outside and is like, what the fuck are you doing? And like, I would write these weird things and I would like put all my friends in the story and then email a bunch of people.
Like Mad Libs.
Yeah. And it was like a social network. I was like kind of created a network of friends. And then in 2001, classmates.com came out. And I was like, whoa, this is like the first social network. It's like a database of all the people that you went to school with. And if you paid money, you could message them. I never paid the money. And then it went to Friendster, and that was like 2002, I think, Friendster, or 3 maybe. But that was like the precursor to Facebook. When Friendster hit, that was like the first like real social network. It all just struck me as good at the time. I didn't think, I hadn't been red pilled. I didn't know about the liberal economic order or global power structures or any of that. I was just like, hey, more is better. More interface means better.
Friends, cool.
Yeah,
easier to coordinate like a high school reunion. Although at this point, like I'm already keeping up with the people from high school that I'm still curious about. I was so mad I missed whatever my last high school reunion was, because it would have been cool to go and be like, hey, look, I'm doing okay. Everyone look at me. Gaze upon me.
Did you go to any of them?
I don't think I've been to any. Actually, like not maybe college, like maybe the year after I graduated, I went back to college for the 1 year, but I haven't really been back yet. And now it's almost like too much time has gone by. It's like, yeah, well, you guys know where to find me. I'm very online. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like you said, you keep in touch with the people you like. I went to one, and it was nice to see some of those people. One of the girls wanted to hook up. I was in kind of a bad place. Like psychologically, I was like, just in like a recovery state. And I was like, did I miss the boat on that opportunity? But at the same time, I was like, nah, it's just some drunk girl from my hometown.
Was it pre or post TimCast?
Pre. It was like 2015, I think.
Have you noticed people either people from your past or current people treat you differently since being on TimCast?
Yeah, I think it was about I kind of got out of the it was like not really TimCast. It's just my behavior kind of got more like fuck this shit. Look through this stuff. Like, can you not see all the bullshit? I got really red pilled in like 2007 by because I went on the internet. I started making internet videos in 06 and I was being honest, as honest as I could with people. So they were being honest with me, the people and they were like, yo, do you know what fiat currency is? Do you know what the liberal economic order is? You know, you're part of the problem. The United States is the
Ooh.
empire. And I was like, it was almost too much to take, but I kind of snapped, but I couldn't look away. I had to accept the truth. It was just hard. And then a lot of the people that I had been friends with from my past thought I went crazy, but I was just like, don't you see? Look, Monsanto is putting glyphosate on food and it's not good for, and they're like, Ian, just chill out. Just enjoy it. And
I can't.
yeah, I got to do something about this. And they're like, if you go, but some of the points were good. Like, if you go insane, you're not going to be able to do anything about it. So you got to stay calm. But
Right. That's true.
some of the people were just like trying to pacify me. And it was like, it was a big veering off of a lot of my friends from my past. And then when things got hyper political in 2016, for whatever reason, it was like, even questioning things was like pissing people off. And I'm like, I mean, I'm not saying that Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton's a better president. I'm just saying, look at the email dump on WikiLeaks of Hillary's emails. And they were like, Ian, what are you doing? It's her time. It's her time. And I'm like, what is going on?
Look at all these pictures of her as a little girl. She deserves this.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't like I can't lay in the past. I need to like go. And it was very lonely. It was like a rebirthing and like I lost a lot of friends but it was a hard segue. And it
Were you making this content on YouTube? Like, where were you initially?
Initially on YouTube in 06, 07, 08. And then,
so the golden days.
Yeah, it was MySpace at first because that was like the best place. And then YouTube was like around, but everything was on MySpace blogs. You put your videos on MySpace. I would email people my MySpace videos. And then MySpace started to get slow. Like all of a sudden the servers got overloaded. It was before the days of virtual servers where you could like load up an AWS server or like an Oracle server. And so whatever hardware they had, they couldn't handle the load of popularity and they imploded on their own popularity. It was like a month in like 2006. There was like a month where like I would actually make a YouTube video, embed it in a MySpace blog, and then email that MySpace blog to a bunch of people. But then there was a month that MySpace just crumbled to a halt. Like you click a link and it would take 30 seconds to load and people just stopped using it and everyone went to Facebook and YouTube. It was sad, but it was wild that MySpace was its own downfall in that sense.
Wow. I just miss being able to have a profile song.
Yeah. I think it was because they would let people write their own HTML on their own web pages that it got too slow. Like the systems couldn't handle it.
Okay. So there was too much coding.
Yeah, Facebook forced homogenization. Every page looked the same. And so their systems were a lot more streamlined.
That makes sense. We got a couple of questions from the chat. James Dakota, thanks for becoming a new member. Matthew Hammond, Freedom Tunes was awesome today. Santa saved us in the cartoon that was released today. I haven't seen that.
I did a voice on the cartoon. It was very fun.
You did?
Yeah. I play one of the liberal journalists. I don't even want to call it that, but that's the name of the guy Seamus sent me.
Is that on YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah, on Freedom Tunes. I think it dropped like 6 hours ago.
Oh, snap. Santa overthrows the government?
You could say that. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Okay, I wonder, do you know where you come up in this cartoon?
It's early on.
Character?
Yeah, it's like within the first minute or so, I think.
Wow, that's really cool to be a voice on a cartoon. Here we go. I don't know if you guys can hear it.
Yeah, I can, yeah.
All right, everybody. Are you ready to review the tapes?
Time to see what really
What's your character? Oh, you said you're a liberal.
There, right after the credits, I think it's gonna.
Stop the steal! Stop the steal! Stop the steal!
Christmas has been canceled after the January 6th tapes reveal that Santa was among those rioting at the Capitol during the January 6th insurrection.
Leaked phone calls confirm that Santa was motivated by a belief that Joe Biden stole the 2020 election.
I saw all of it. It's in my naughty list. If they get away with it.
How?
Maybe you're this guy.
No, it's about to come up, I think.
Hurting America.
Oh, there you are.
This revelation, coupled with the ADL's 2018 decision to list Santa as anti-Semitic for not delivering
Looks like
presents
Ben
to
Shapiro.
Jewish kids, casts further suspicion on all who celebrate Christmas.
We need to do something about these Santa-adjacent Christo-fascists. We've confirmed that just 12
That was
days
me,
before
by the way.
January 6th, Santa
cool.
visited.
Oh,
That
that's
dude
awesome.
with the side shave, yeah.
The orange.
I could have done it.
hat.
I could have done it. I could have been more creative. We did it on the fly last night. Did like 4 takes. I could have done a voice like this. I just did it my own voice.
Your own voice is great.
Oh, thank you.
I thought this said Seaman. Colt. Well, it is Seaman. Colt Seaman, the best member of FNT with the best member of TimCast on one stream. This is a Christmas gift. You two are amazing. Merry Christmas to you both, and hope you both have an awesome 2024. Thank you, Colt.
Thanks, man.
Oh, shucks. Push-ups. Ian is the only hippie that I like. That speaks volumes. Thank you, push-ups.
Nice.
Do you consider yourself a hippie?
Not like a real hippie. Real hippies, like they don't shower. They
No.
don't have a lot of drive. They do a lot of drugs. Like I've spent a lot of time with hippies, which is why, and I like that vibe. I like the chill kind of like, yo, just like vibe with the ocean, man. But like, I've never been able to settle into that like beach bum lifestyle where it's just like whatever happens. Like I feel so drawn to geopolitical alteration that like I've got to stay laser focused in my math and science stuff. But I do love the hippie vibe. And I believe a lot of this stuff, like sympathetic vibration of crystals, that stuff's real. It's just the hippies don't know how to explain it. So I go into the science realm and I want to like show you why some of these things are real.
I could never be. Yeah. I mean, maybe I have a lot of crystals. I maybe owned a dream catcher at one point, but I have too much I want to do to be a hippie. And that's why I don't understand like people who smoke weed. It's just like, if you ever have goals in your life, like just don't spend a lot of time. Generally, I would say don't smoke weed. If you have anything you want to accomplish, it's definitely not going to help.
It definitely slowed me way down. And maybe if someone's moving too fast, that might help a little bit, but I agree with you. I mean, I can only say that in retrospect because I smoked pot for like 18 years, almost straight, not every day, but like some months it was every day. Sometimes 6 months, it was like every day for 6 months. And I did not have good relationships at that period of my life because my relationship was with myself and my weed. And that was definitely an addictive place. But, you know, I learned a different kind of, I learned how to feel things instead of think about them. So that was kind of a nice transformation.
I think everyone deals with that at one point. Like I had an Adderall prescription just to get me through like whatever day job I had because it was hard to focus. And now looking back, it's like it was hard to focus because I was not meant for that job and I needed to really pursue something more creative rather than like, what drugs do I need to take so I can fixate on this spreadsheet and do this expense report? And I eventually just kind of weaned myself off because I didn't want to be reliant on something that could cost me like $90 a month. You know, I was like, well, what if I don't have insurance? And I just was like, yeah, I just find myself leaning towards like as little drugs as possible. Like nothing is better.
It's so rewarding. Like you are the drug. Your body produces DMT. You know, you're good to go if you know how to access it. If you know how to squeeze it out of you with like working out, holotropic breathing, meditation. With weed, I find weed to be like an enhancement mechanism. So if you're in a bad mood, it enhances your bad mood. If you're in a good mood, it enhances your good mood. And that's, I think, why it has that spiraling mechanism where you can spiral into depression or you can have like the best time of your life with that stuff. And it's like, it's so easy to overdose on it too. Like a huge hit and that dazed thing that comes out of it is like an overdose. But I think if used in the right dosage and the right time and setting, it could be probably very healing for the body.
The first time I ever tried weed, I was in college and it was out of a bong and nobody really showed me how to do it. I just remember I kept leaning back until all of a sudden I was like slurping. And then everyone's like, no, stop. And I was like, what? I saved you guys some. This is gross. How do you guys keep doing this. I swallowed some of the bong water and I threw up like the most I've ever thrown up.
Well,
Like an hour later, and I was like, "What? I saved you guys some." Little gross, but I guess it's working. I don't know.
thanks, guys.
Thanks. I'm in college now. Mangus, tell us about graphene. What's the latest in graphene news?
I think that Twistronic graphene is where it's at, like creating layers of it on top of each other, like a 1.1 degree angle of graphene sheets produces like superconductive properties, excuse me. And that is, I haven't done much research into it since I talked to James Tour about 2 months ago. It's the second episode on my podcast on YouTube on Rumbles, not on Spotify yet, though maybe I should be. And what I learned from him is that this new process where they're creating hydrogen fuel out of the flash Joule heating process, where they'll take carbon, any kind of carbon, and they'll put it in a tube, and then they'll hit it with 7,000 degree electricity in like for 0.1 millisecond. They just pulse it, and it turns into black graphene powder, and they get a hydrogen byproduct. So for every kilogram of hydrogen fuel that they get, the gas, they can actually put it into fuel cells. For every kilogram they produce, they get $4.50 of this bulk graphene. It's not the sheets. It's the sheets of graphene you can make electronics out of. They're not, as far as I know, people haven't been able to mass produce that stuff, the sheets, but they're making the bulk graphene pretty readily now. And it's making the hydrogen profitable.
They're putting it in microchips. Are you someone who is afraid we're all just going to eventually have chips in our heads and there's nothing we can do?
I'm not afraid of it. It is, I don't know if all of us will either. What I could see like concerning is that some humans go that direction and then the other ones are treated like cattle slaves, and they're like all the ones that are chipped up are like linked up, and they can all like communicate with each other rapidly with their thoughts, and they organize like a slave caste where they're and then everyone else just does the labor.
Damn, all because some people just wanted to like buy some snacks with their hands, and then they get to enslave everybody else.
You know what I thought would be cool is like the neural net. Everyone's like, oh, I don't want to be the first. I don't know if everyone's saying this. A lot of people don't want to be the first in line to like plug their brain into the machine with a neural net. And I understand why, because there's risk involved and your brain could get hacked. Who knows? God. But I'm like on the abortion discussion. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's a baby when the brain is developed and the organs are developed. Once the brain's developed, then it's a baby. And people are like, no, Ian, it's a baby on conception. And I'm like, well, you know what? If the thing was neural netted from the moment of conception, I think then we could prove it that it's a human on conception. And that might be, or even it doesn't need to be like netted into the fetus or anything, but like if the female had some sort of sensor in her womb that could like actually show you the human development from conception, that would be a pretty cool scientific revolution and breakthrough that could really help people. But it might, a lot of people I would imagine would consider it intrusive. But like your experience, like conceiving a baby, was it a human immediately? Did you feel it?
Oh my God. Well, I think I found out I was pregnant, and then a couple days later I had to get on a plane and go to LA for some gigs. So I didn't have time to go to a doctor or anything yet. I just was like, I'm pretty sure. I had these 4 tests tell me yes, so I'm just going to not drink. And then I came back and had my first ultrasound at 12. Was it 12 weeks? Yeah, it was September 12th. And it already looked like a little baby. I was shocked at how much was already developed, even though you're not showing, you still like fit into all your clothes. It's like you're just a little pregnant. But I was like, there's a head, there's a body. It doesn't look like a tadpole. I was blown away. And I'll never forget the tech, the lady, because I just did it. I didn't do it at like the OB guy, and I just did it at the regular doctor's office. And the lady who's doing the tech was like, I'm not even allowed to turn up the volume on the heart monitor part of this. Like a doctor or a nurse has to do that. And it made me think, like, I think there are things in place to keep a woman from like really attaching to the baby in case she wants to 86 it, which I think is kind of scary and icky. Like this woman is not even allowed to turn up the volume to hear the heartbeat. And I asked her like how far along I was. She's like, I'm not supposed to tell you, but I'm just going to leave this screen up and walk out of the room. I was like, cool, thank you, appreciate it. And then she came back. I was like, are there people who see this and then like, and you see it moving? I'm like, and they still decide to terminate. And she's like, oh yeah. And I just was like, I can't. I'm like, I wish this is what they had shown us in health class, like in middle school and high school, because I would have had a really different opinion of things. And I was raised with the whole health education of like fear about sex and like, you will get AIDS, you will die. That's what will happen if you have sex. Like the discussion of conception was not, it was really just at one point they gave us babies that would occasionally cry and we had to take them home. And I think I would just shove it in the closet and put a bunch of sweaters on it because I didn't know how to get it to stop, or we had to carry an egg around. It's just, I just think that middle schoolers and high schools can have a more sophisticated conversation around that than was what I experienced.
Yeah, that would have been wild to watch a baby at like 12 or 15 weeks in a womb. Like I never saw anything like
Yeah.
that as a kid.
Yeah. It was very cool.
But it is interesting. You said you didn't even know you were pregnant for the first 7 weeks. So it's not like, I mean, maybe if you'd been in like deep meditation and like just like really in tune with the sensations of your body, you would have like felt the spark immediately and like,
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I was so busy though. I was like traveling a lot. I was doing conventions. I'm like, you're lugging equipment around, so maybe you don't notice. And I was always so regular. Like I wasn't late. I wasn't on birth control. So I was always super, super like always synced up with the moon in some way. So, and I just figured, oh, I'm busy. That's probably why I'm late. If I had less going on and I was really thinking about it, I probably would have taken a test a lot sooner. But I just was like running around. So
speaking of that, I gotta go to the bathroom real fast. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, this is awkward. No, I'm kidding. Let me do push-ups. Thanks for the super chat. God bless America. Us land that I love. Or maybe that's an American flag. Thank you. Prototype. This guy is a complete fraud. Why would you indulge this creep? What do you mean fraud? What is a fraud? I don't know what you mean by that. Gotta get Seamus on CMP. Thanks, Johnny Mumbles. Oh, he's the Freedom Tunes guy, right? Okay. Maybe I should have used this time to pee as well. Ian is peeing. Peeing Ian. Everyone go pee. Some feel it, but you can't be too occupied with yourself, which today is a rare thing. Yeah, I just didn't expect it to happen because we weren't like trying. And most women that are trying to have a baby is like, it's an obsession. It's like, you got a temperature every day. You got your calendar. You have your like high fertility days that you really got to focus on. And I wasn't doing any of that. So I wasn't like actively trying to get pregnant. So I just didn't think it was going to happen. It's not like I was like not in touch with my body. I was just like, whatever, man, I'm busy. Let's see. Lots of dystopian laws regarding babies. It's all designed to make infanticide as easy as possible. Yeah, I think they should show you the realness of it right away. I think you should hear the heartbeat. I think you should see all the things so you're fully informed. I just heard his toilet seat go down. My mom didn't know she was pregnant with me until she was 5 months. What? That's like where I'm at right now. And my parents were scheduled to move to Germany because my dad was in the Air Force. That's very far along to not know. Holy cow.
Hi.
We're just sharing
some comments?
Stories, comments, yeah. From Matthew Hammond, can Ian introduce Chrissy to Tim's mom? I think it would be an interesting interview, even if audio only. I think she runs a math YouTube channel. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I think it's
I'll
called
have to check it out.
Joanne's School, I think is the name of it. I don't want to get that wrong. She's really smart.
Joanne Pool. Joanne Pool School. Or I would call it Everybody in the Pool.
Yeah, she like I think it's Joanne's school. She does videos for like kids, for elementary kids, and I don't know if she still does them frequently as much. Oh yeah,
That's cool.
I don't know what she's been up to. She's getting into chickens these days. It looks like it. Yeah,
Ooh,
she's great.
I want to get into chickens. Jim Marshall, Ian, what are your thoughts about welding decommissioned cruise ships together and anchoring them in international waters, freedom micronations?
That's an interesting concept. Anchoring them in international waters.
This sounds like when you go down a lazy river with your friends and you all just decide to hold hands.
Yeah, I love the idea of building new land masses in the ocean. As long as they've got like they don't get abandoned. Not that they wouldn't want to just like grow crops out there and desalinate their own water. And that's an interesting concept. There's other ways too than just cruise ships. You can like take dirt and wrap it in plastic bags, and then like you like take a bunch of dirt, you put them in plastic bags, and then you put a bunch of dirt on top of it, and then plant trees in the dirt, and the tree roots go in and they wrap around all that plastic.
Like a beaver dam.
Yeah.
With a land bridge on top of it.
Yeah, and then it floats because it's all this plastic trash. It'll float, and then this guy Richard Sova that does it, SOWA. He like floats around on a floating island in the Pacific. He has multiple floating islands. He's super cool.
Where does he get his mail?
That's a question for Richard Sova. I'd like to find out. He says they can fly too. According to him, he's like, because it creates a pressure gradient, a depressurization above, because the trees are pulling the pressure, you can actually get lift from this island. And he's like outside the box kind of guy. Super cool.
I love that. Jake CB says, has Ian heard about other 2D super materials yet?
Yeah, there's boraphene. It's ultimately the real catalyst of graphene is the structure, is the benzene ring structure, this hexagonal lattice. So it just happens to be carbon, the graphene, but there's other like, boron. When you do it, it's called boraphene. And I think that there's a lot of potential for different materials in these two-dimensional lattices. Also like layering a layer of graphene on top of a layer of boraphene on top of a layer of like, I don't know what other, use your imagination. You might get massive, like crazy different outcomes.
Would you say boron is like the most boring element?
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's number 5. I should
Inside of the
that.
Ian is the man. Wait till I tell him about my psychedelic kombucha trip while working at SpaceX. Motherhood is a portal to another dimension. Yay. Is it? That's exciting.
That's awesome. Looking into the baby's eyes.
It's so scary that there's going to be a little person that would call me mom one day. And one day soon, if everything goes well.
That's so awesome. What do you have an expected due date, or are you not stressed
April
about that?
19th, but
oh,
I read a lot of people are like late. Like sometimes you can carry to 42 weeks. So
what's April 19th? How many weeks would that be?
He's either going to be an Aries or a Taurus. I've already looked into it, people. I'm at 20. I'll be at 23 as of tomorrow.
I dated a girl that was born on the 19th of April. She was exceptionally awesome human being.
Ooh, okay.
And my dad was born on the 18th of April. Also exceptionally awesome.
Oh, wow. All right. That's really neat.
It's a good time of year.
Matthew Hammond, did you see the video of Steve Harvey's son on whatever podcast? He was more brutal because he didn't have a punchline at the end. I DM'd you. No, I did not see that. Thank you, Matthew Hammond. Jeremy David. Ian should put you in touch with John Rich. Oh, he was one of the musical guests at the Turning Point.
I didn't see him. Did you watch him live?
I didn't. Maybe he was in the background while I was wolfing down a taco bowl. But I didn't like go out of my way to see him.
Are you a big fan of the music, John, Big and Rich?
No, I hadn't heard of him before this weekend.
I didn't know. I'd heard of their big hit, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. I've heard that song.
Oh, yeah, I know that song.
And then when I met him, we did IRL in Nashville when we were down there at the Daily Wire. And he was sitting there. I came into the RV, and it was just some chill dude just chilling with a hat on. I didn't know who he was. And he was like totally nondescript. And then we started talking. He was like the nicest guy. He is so cool. I love him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love when celebrities are cool.
He's so genuine.
Syracuse Bear. Ian, will Tim ever embrace his baldness? Oh boy.
He does every night. You just don't see it on TV. I
How
would
many-
love for him to go like, I think it's going to be the transformation of the human race when things like when the singularity approaches, like Tim will go full Saiyan, Super Saiyan, and it'll be like, this is the real Tim. Yeah.
Plenty of people. I mean, like Jeremy Piven got hair plugs. There's Elon Musk. I mean, you could also probably I've seen people with hair tattooed into
Honestly,
their heads.
Elon looks spectacular, like full head of healthy hair. It's kind of like,
I don't know where they got it from, his back or someone else. I don't know how that works.
or if it's just actually regrowing, like the stem cell rejuvenation and the hair follicles are regenerated or something.
Or if he just goes into a Bacta tank at night and just focuses on his hair growing
Yes.
back, and that's what happens.
Yes. We need more Bacta tanks.
Swinging cod. Hitler was born on 420. Exceptionally not awesome. You know, everyone likes to focus on Hitler's bad qualities. You know, I'm sure he was very tidy.
I mean, you could argue that Hitler was awesome in that he invoked awe upon the population.
Right.
Awe is not good or bad. It's just a state of like,
How many of us can say we followed through on our goals?
Well put, Chrissy.
He was a go-getter. Okay, so who would you say favorite or top favorite TimCast guest you've had on versus who would you love to see on?
I would love, well, Kanye's already been on. I didn't do the show with Kanye. I love him. I really do.
Oh
and I feel
God,
like
he like
been-
walked off, right? Because there was like a misunderstanding, or he thought Tim wouldn't go with him on something.
Yeah, it devolved pretty fast. It was like 30 minutes in and he bounced.
Ugh.
I'd like to have him back on and chill for a couple hours and play some music because I love his personality. We hung out before the show. He's super cool. Like really cares about what you think. He was asking me what he should do with the parlor stuff. I was like, we were really talking about it for a while, and hopefully he'll come back on and we'll all get down on something. I don't know what he's got going on. So
I think Kanye needs to be handled. Like I think you could handle him.
Yeah,
he
we
needs
think similar.
handling.
Yeah, we got like that that aesthetic quality to our thoughts. Like it's kind of amorphous. Like you start here and then your thoughts go like this and then they come back around and then you make your point. And a lot of people will interrupt him while he's right here or partway through this balloon.
Yes, you're so right. And they don't understand. Like they think he's being random or off topic, but it's like he's coming around to it. It's how certain creative minds work. You chew on a thing for a while and come back to it.
Yeah. And then what your other one was who so far my favorite that I've got to interview. Honestly, well, that's a tough one. Drew Pinsky. I love that man. I interviewed him on my show too. He's so cool.
Drew's awesome.
I really liked having Mike Rowe on the show. I got a lot of respect for that man. He's really like the real deal. And Vivek Ramaswamy is super impressive that he's willing to sacrifice like not his life, but like essentially sacrifice, like, it's not like death, but like sacrifice his life in a way. Like he's almost a billionaire. He's got a beautiful wife, amazing children. And he's like, no, I'm going to throw myself into this. Like that takes a lot of a person. And that's really impressive to me. And he listens really well.
Didn't Vivek like or he's going to take himself off the Colorado ballot?
Yeah, that's what he claims.
To stand with Trump. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, to stand with the Constitution, basically. It's like you can't just take his argument is you can't just take a candidate off a state ballot that's not constitutionally authorized. So no, I'm not participating in this bunk endeavor. That's pretty cool. He's a leader. And there's a couple other people that really stood out. I guess I would say Drew Pinsky, Mike Rowe. I mean, Michael every time Malice comes on, he was on last night. He's like one of my best friends. So it's like,
he's great and so interesting.
Yeah. Super cool. Everything about him. He's a community leader. Great guy. The list goes on though, man. I could just keep going and going. There's so many cool people.
And so who do you want to get on? That's
never been on. Who would I like to get on? James Tour. He's the guy. I interviewed him. He's a graphene scientist out of Rice University. He's like one of the world's leading graphene scientists. They're pioneering the energy revolution out of Texas, and he's also deeply into Christ. And he's he was born a Jew, but he's converted to Christianity. Awesome guy. Great guy. Great guest.
Cool. I feel like, Ian, if you ever had a daughter, you'd name her Graphene.
Okay.
Sounds like a pretty girl's name.
Yeah, it does. You call her Fiend for
Oh,
short. Graphene's a nice name, actually.
yeah. It's like Christine or,
Yeah.
well, that's really it.
And Graph,
Okay.
you could call her.
Graph. Just graphing it up. K-Max, would Elon Musk ever do TimCast, you think? Or the issue is getting him physically in your location. He did the Babylon Bee, but I think they met him.
Yeah, 100% he'd do Timcast. It's funny that I didn't pick Elon. I picked James Stewart over Elon. Elon would be top level. I love Elon, man.
He's
We should get him on
fascinating.
soon. Yeah, he's cool.
I think if you had James Tour on, you'd have to lead that episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the best way.
Mark Zark, good evening, Chrissy, Ian, Frank, Baby, Muffin, and Waffles. Oh, those are the dogs. I hope the Bobs enjoy the toys that I sent. I'm going to wrap them up and give them for Christmas, Mark, but I'll take a video. Ian, when do you think the auto industry will embrace engines that run on hydrogen?
As soon as somebody builds an engine that's a hybrid that can handle either gasoline or hydrogen, and it's not going to be, you need the hybrid engine so that then it'll be like, because you don't want to push the oil industry away because it'll just shut everything down. It'll be like, no, you're not messing with our profits. You need to like kind of sneak in there. But maybe Tesla can build like a hybrid engine, or as soon as a company builds that, I guess would be the answer.
Okay, cool. Sweet. K-Max, did you have a favorite debate on the Friday Morning Culture Wars show? Mine was Laura Loomer and Bill Mitchell. What did you think of that one?
You're asking me. I didn't see that one. I think I saw 20 minutes of it. To be honest, I usually sleep in if I'm not on the Culture War because it's like 10 a.m.
Yeah, there's only so many hours of content you can watch.
And I work till 11 at night, so a lot of times I'm pretty wiped in the morning. But let's see who we had on. I think tomorrow I'm really looking forward to Eric Prince tomorrow. He's the founder of Blackwater, who's a private military contractor, and they had a horrible reputation in my party, in my tribe in the 2006-7, because it was like, yo, we invaded Iraq and we have private contractors running shit. This is fucked. Blackwater. And then they like changed their name because they had a lot of bad press at the time. But now it's like, I have a whole other look at private security, a whole other take on it. Like, you could argue that government military could be just as dangerous of a monopoly on force as a private industry. Of course, you're supposed to have a constitution to protect you from it, but like de facto, like what's the reality here? I'd love to talk to him. It's gonna be a good one.
That sounds neat. John Branson, the later the birth, the chubbier and healthier the baby. God bless you and your family. Oh, thank you, John. Thank you, John. I just hope I can get him out. It's a little nerve-wracking.
You got any plans? You just gonna kind of let it happen?
I just hope he doesn't wreck the joint. I watch a lot of videos on Instagram of people just popping it out in their kitchen and catching it with one hand. I think that would be cool. I'll probably just go to the hospital though. I don't know. I have to look. I have to do a lot more reading into like breathing, and I want to try to not have as little drugs as possible. Maybe it's just the German side of me that's just a glutton for pain, but I really just want to see if I can do it. And I got to start really reading up on like which vaccines. So
yeah, we talked about water birth last time, I think. Does that intrigue you, or is it?
Well, it's just who's going to clean the tub? You know, everyone does not it. I don't know if I like clog up the plumbing with placenta chunks. I don't know. I think that's something more like if you have not your first kid. From everything I'm reading, it's possible to do it fine at home, but it's like something you'd be more confident doing if you've already done birth. But even if you did do it at home, you'd have to hire basically a midwife on the level of basically a hardcore professional nurse too. And then what did they say? Basically like 30% of people who plan to do at-home births end up just going to the hospital anyway. So I think it'd be nice to do maybe a combination of both. Like have it at a hospital, but try to do it as crunchy as possible, I guess.
Oh, like a water birth at a hospital?
Well, I don't know if they offer that at the place where I'm going to go. Yeah, I have to look into it.
what you could get like one of those inflatable hot tubs. They're like a couple $100,
Yeah,
and then like fill it up with
that's
nice warm
true.
saline, and then you and Frank will be in there kind of together with like the midwife, because I think that's what I'm being told is like it's like a commute. There's like 3 people in the tub. It's big. It's not like a little bathtub, and you're like kind of upright, like you're kind of standing in it because it's so there's enough space
Oh,
for you to kind of be
really?
upright. Yeah, because I was picturing it in a bathtub at first too, and it's like that's a
Yeah.
bathtub.
Right, you have to get an inflatable pool,
Yeah.
maybe some toys, maybe like a floating cocktail holder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his first rubber ducky.
that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, no matter what, like, you gotta teach them to swim right away. You can't let them get
Yeah,
so old that they get afraid of the water again.
and apparently they go right into it. They come out and they're immediately like they're already been swimming for 9 months.
Yeah, I've heard that it's less abrupt because if you're, like, born into warm water already, it's like it's less of a jarring, like, temperature change.
Yeah.
So,
Do you guys talk about circumcision?
we haven't yet. I mean, like, a couple times, but, like, haven't made a definitive decision yet.
I have Mick. I don't understand. Like, I think Elijah Schaefer has been talking a lot about it, and I want to talk to him about it. I'm going to be interviewing him in the next month or two. I got circumcised, so I ever knew anything else, and I love it. I got no problems with it. The head of the cock gets huge. It's like that's fantastic. It's super sensitive, which could be a problem because they're like, if it's overly sensitive, do we get overly sexualized as men? And it's like we're always hunting sex because it's so like the memory of the pain and the overstimulation.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I can understand people's point for not doing it. I can also totally understand why you would do it. So, I think I'm a little bit like, okay, whatever ultimately Frank wants, he's the one. I've never had a penis, so it's like I would defer to him on that, I think. Like whatever he feels strongly one way or the other about.
That's yep.
It'd be so funny if like we're having a girl be like, "We're gonna get her circumcised."
Oh my God, could you imagine?
The jokes.
I feel like I need like a poll that's like everyone on earth, should you get them circumcised or not? And I want like 8 billion people to say yes or no, honestly, to really understand the value of it.
At one of the rallies I went to, it wasn't January 6th, it was the December one. There was a guy, I'll never forget him. I interviewed him. His name was Prometheus. And on first glance, you'd be like, oh, this guy's fucking crazy. You know, he's dirty looking. He's got a big hand painted sign. And he was so passionately against circumcision. And I was like, I'll have to dig up the clip. I was really like talking to him for like a good 20 plus minutes. And he was very kooky. We just talked about like it's a sin, why it's evil. But anytime someone's very passionate, it's like you got to hear him out. He was nuts though. But fun.
Nice. Shout out to Prometheus.
Shout out to Prometheus. I'll never know your last name. I know, Ian, you got to get ready for you got to get your hair ready for the show.
I think I'm camera ready, but I'm gonna go.
Oh,
I'm gonna jump on Gamer. I think I'm gonna go on Gamer Maids, which is one of the new TimCast shows. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a gaming channel. And I think they're playing Banjo-Kazooie tonight. I could be wrong, but they're already at it. They go live 5 to 7 Eastern.
Ooh, yeah, get up on that. Other than following you on Twitter, YouTube, and Rumble at Ian Crossland and going to iancrossland.net, any place else people can find you?
Always at minds.com/Ian Crossland. Yeah. And I also do Facebook, but I think they shadow ban me when I talked about George Floyd's autopsy report. For all of a sudden my stuff started getting like 3 clicks, 3 views. It was getting like 50, 80 since I posted some weird image in 2013, but then I've kind of given up on the Meta platforms. You follow me on Instagram too. I use them a little bit. I don't post much on them. That's about it. You can find all my social medias through iancrossland.net. I have it linked to a link tree, which then has a bunch of hyperlinks on it.
Awesome. Ian, thank you so much for your time. You're always great to talk to. It's good to see you this weekend. And I guess we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Give my love to the family. Absolutely.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We'll see you next